Once upon a time, in a small village in Vietnam, there lived two brothers. Their parents had passed away, leaving them a house, some land, and a few belongings. The older brother looked at everything they had and thought, I am the oldest. I should have the house, and the fields, and, well, most of everything else too. So he kept the large house, the rice fields, and nearly all of the family's possessions for himself. And what did he give his younger brother? A tiny piece of land, with one old starfruit tree growing in the middle. That was all, but the younger brother did not complain. Thank you, he said. He built a small cottage beside the tree and began a simple life there. Every morning, he watered the tree. Every afternoon, he pulled weeds from around its roots. And every evening, he would sit beneath its branches and watch the sun disappear behind the hills. He didn't have much, but he was happy with what he had. Then one spring morning, something wonderful happened. Tiny flowers appeared all over the starfruit tree. Soon, the flowers became little green fruits. The little fruits grew and grew until the whole tree was covered with beautiful golden yellow starfruits. The younger brother was delighted. These will be ready for the market soon, he said. Perhaps he could sell the fruit and buy some rice, fix the roof of his cottage, and save a little money for the future. But the next morning, he heard a strange sound outside. Flap, flap, flap! The younger brother opened his door, and his mouth fell open. Sitting in his starfruit tree was the biggest bird he had ever seen. It had enormous wings, bright feathers, and a long golden beak. And it was eating his starfruits. Nibble, gulp. One fruit disappeared. Nibble, gulp, then another. Oh no, cried the younger brother. Please, Mr. Bird, those fruits are all I have. The giant bird stopped eating. It slowly turned its head and looked at him. Then, to the younger brother's surprise, the bird spoke. Eat one starfruit, return one piece of gold. Make a bag 3 spans wide and come with me to carry it. The younger brother blinked. Once, twice. A talking bird? Gold? He wasn't quite sure what was happening, but he decided to trust the bird. That evening, he found some cloth and carefully made a small bag exactly as the bird had told him. The next morning, flap, 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 the giant bird returned. Climb on, it said. The younger brother held tightly to the bird's feathers. With one powerful flap, they rose into the sky. Higher and higher they flew. The little cottage became smaller than a toy. The village disappeared behind the mountains. They flew over green forests, over sparkling rivers, and finally, over the enormous blue sea. The younger brother held on tightly as the wind rushed past his face. At last, a tiny island appeared in the distance. The bird landed. Look, it said. The younger brother climbed down and gasped. All around him were piles of treasure, gold coins, golden bowls, beautiful jewels sparkling in every color imaginable. For a moment, he simply stared. He had never seen so much treasure in his life. But then he remembered what the bird had said. He opened his little bag, and he filled only that bag. Not his pockets, not his shoes, not even one extra coin in his hands. When the bag was full, he stopped. That's enough, he said. The giant bird looked at him approvingly. Together, they flew home. The younger brother used his gold wisely. He repaired his little cottage. He bought food. He helped neighbors who were struggling, and he saved the rest. Before long, everyone in the village noticed that his life had changed, including his older brother. Where did you get all of this? The older brother asked. The younger brother told him everything. The starfruit, the giant bird, the mysterious island, and the small bag of gold. The older brother's eyes grew wider and wider and wider. Gold? He whispered. That night, he couldn't sleep. He imagined mountains of gold, rooms filled with gold, maybe even a golden bathtub. The very next morning, the older brother hurried to his younger brother. Dear brother, he said with his sweetest smile, I have been thinking. You deserve my big house and all my fields. The younger brother was surprised. You want to trade them for my little cottage and the starfruit tree. Exactly, said the older brother. The younger brother understood why, but he agreed. So the older brother moved beside the starfruit tree and waited and waited and waited. Then one morning, flap, 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 the giant bird returned. It landed in the tree and began eating the starfruits. The older brother rushed outside, but secretly he was delighted. "Oh no!" he cried dramatically. "My precious starfruits!" The bird gave him the same promise. "Eat one starfruit, return one piece of gold. Make a bag 3 spans wide, and come with me to carry it." But the older brother thought, 3 spans? That's much too small. So instead, he made an enormous bag. The next morning, the bird carried him across the mountains and over the sea. When they reached the treasure island, the older brother could hardly believe his eyes. Gold! He ran from one treasure pile to another. He stuffed gold into his enormous bag. Then he filled his pockets. Then he tucked jewels inside his clothes. "Enough," warned the bird. But the older brother shook his head. "Just a little more." He grabbed another handful, and another, and another. Finally, the bag was so heavy that he could barely move it. The bird sighed. They began the long journey home. But over the middle of the sea, the wind grew stronger. The bird flapped its wings. Flap! Flap! The enormous bag pulled them downward. "We're too heavy," cried the bird. "Throw away some of the gold." The older brother hugged his bag. "No!" A strong gust of wind blew past them. The bird dropped lower. "Let some go." The older brother looked at his gold. Then he looked at the enormous sea below. For the first time, he understood. What good was all that treasure if his greed caused him to lose everything? He opened the bag. A few gold coins fell into the sea, but they were still too heavy. So he threw away more and more and more until only a small amount remained. Slowly, the bird began to rise again. At last, they reached home safely. The older brother sat quietly beneath the starfruit tree. He looked at the few coins remaining in his hand. Then he looked up at the branches above him. He finally understood something his younger brother had known all along. Having enough can make you happy, but always wanting more can make you lose what you already have. From that day on, the older brother began to change. He worked hard. He shared more. I'll see you in the next story.